The Three Wise Fools podcast is brought to you by the Public Health South Tees BoroManCan Men's Health campaign. However, we feel we should make it clear that the pod, the content and the opinions expressed within are not necessarily representative of Public Health South Tees or its associated local authorities, Middlesbrough or Redcar and Cleveland Borough Councils. We do this in our own time and enjoy the freedom to talk about the issues in our way. So enjoy the pod and visit www.boromancan.co.uk to find out more.
So, hello and a warm welcome to The Wise Fools. My name is Idrees Rashid, and keep me company in the studio today is Richie Andrew. Good afternoon, hello,
mate.
Good evening, good morning, whatever time you're watching. Welcome to you and welcome to Richie.
How are you doing?
I'm well. Nice to have you in the studio.
The Wise Fools.
The Wise Fools. Where's the third fool?
I know, well, frankly, he's probably at work, let's be honest.
Yes.
I'm on a day off today.
You're on a day off?
I am.
Oh, is it?
I know. I've been taking one day off every week at the moment, right up till Christmas. So I'm only working. I only do a 4-day-a-week job at the moment. I know.
Lucky you. In fact, I've been doing 4 days for the last 10 years.
I know.
So, actually 3 days. Just only recently took 4 days.
I know what it feels like now. That extra day makes a lot of difference.
Yeah, definitely.
I know it's a bit of a privilege, to be honest. But yeah, we are with the Wise. So we're always going to be. Well, we're guesting, aren't we? So we've got.
So the format's changed a little bit. So would you like to let our viewers, listeners know what the new format is and what they can expect from the pod?
Well, we talked about it a little bit in the last one. There was me, Matt, and a guy called John Lee, who's like a local mindfulness instructor, and he's been involved as like a men's health champion with BoroManCan for quite a while. We were struggling, between myself, Idrees, and Matt, to all get together at the same time, and different like pressures in life. But we've got access, you've got the podcasting equipment here. John's got some there, and there's kind of others who can get involved who are quite close to the campaign, who know enough about it to be able to sit in and do the pod. So that's what we've started to do. So the last one was me, Matt, and John. Today it's you, me, and a guest today who we're going to introduce in a second. And this is how it's going to be. So we've changed the name to reflect it as well. So The Wise Fools.
The Wise Fools, yeah. And occasionally we'll be here in our cafe. How's the brew, by the way? Is it okay?
It's not bad.
That's good.
For instant, I'd say it's pretty damn good.
So we'll be here, but we are looking to be out and about in various different settings as well.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. The opportunities I have to connect with you guys. But who are we connecting with today? Because we do have a guest here in the studio as well.
We do. So we've had this podcast has met Rory Logan before. Have you got him on? Can we bring Rory in?
Yes.
There you are. So, how are you doing, Rory? You all right?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you for guesting today.
Oh, anytime.
We've got a couple of things. It's been a good chance to catch up with you and see how things have been.
Yeah.
About what you've been up to as well, like work wise, and like the voluntary stuff you do with Find the Light and so on. Did you see my T-shirt picture I put on Instagram?
I did. Yeah. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
So normally you get like, I have to say on the T-shirt thing, it was a sweet ass design on the T-shirt. Like, normally you get T-shirts and like it's just got the logo on, or it just says that, and you're like, yeah, I'll wear it a couple of times, and then but that's genuinely like a nice T-shirt to look at.
Well, it's a friend of mine that works in a tattoo shop in Redcar called Gothica. It's a girl called Josie Sexton, and people come from all around the world to get tattooed by her.
No way.
Canada, US, France, wherever. Like, yeah, she's tremendous. She's phenomenal, and she's had her issues with mental health herself, and she's a big supporter. So she just said, yeah, whatever you need. So
well, fantastic.
I can't be all happy about that.
Well, no, because I thought design-wise, a T-shirt could have been anything you might have picked up in a decent shop, a designer shop or something. It just looked good.
I think
it looks good, genuinely.
Yeah, thank you.
So thanks for that.
Just for the camera there, Rory, what have you got on that sleeve there in terms of the ink you have?
I've got all sorts here. Let's have a look.
I'm just curious, and I'm sure our viewers and listeners will be as well.
Rory?
I've got my Rubik's Cube. That needs to be finished, but that's a prehistoric bear skull. I don't know if you can see it from there.
Yeah, you can see that.
Yeah. I've got the goddess Athena.
Nice.
Her male counterpart, a Spartan sword.
Yes.
That's not as egotistical as it sounds, the Never Surrender, but it was lyrics from a song at a funeral. The Pretender by Foo Fighters.
Okay.
It was lyrics from a funeral. Nice. Yeah, I've got all sorts. Like, I'm covered.
Yeah.
I've recently had, I can't show you, but I've recently had my
if you really want it, I'm pushy.
No, I've recently had my armpit tattooed black. Like from there up, it's black to about there, and up around there.
A full sleeve as well. Like.
Yeah. And the plan is to go to make it a black canvas to go over in white eventually.
Get it.
Like a negative tattoo.
So you can start to do negative tattoos. So I've got one here which is like it's a Nürburgring from Germany on my arm.
Oh, yeah.
That's like a negative tattoo. And a
Yeah.
lot of people say, "Oh, what's that, Mallorca?" Because it looks like sort of the beach on the where they dotted it as well. But it looks like no, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm covered. I'm lucky enough to have some very, very, very talented friends. Yeah,
Have you got a favourite tat out of all of them? The one you think actually that's the one.
I do. Yeah, it's on my thigh.
Is it?
I can show you. I'm covered up, but
Actually, if you send us a picture, we'll include it as part of the pod. Yeah, we'll overlay it. But yeah, it's. I'm sure there's a story behind all of those, and yeah, definitely, it's always interesting to hear.
of course, yeah. Some of them have too much alcohol behind them, but all of the good ones were just totally sober.
Have you told our viewers the one that you got on your left bum cheek?
Mate, I tell you, you were there. You actually did it.
I know.
I was. It's the. I don't want to say that. To be honest, I thought we weren't going to go back to that moment. I thought it was like uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean?
It was at Kirk-Levington Grange, wasn't it? You remember we were in prison together?
I was desperate to share a cell, and that's it. That's how it went down, wasn't it? At the end of the day.
Well, you haven't got any.
Well, it's the interesting thing. You only put one E in Idrees on it, and I just like so. I'll have to add next one on at some point. Yeah.
I've got a really unfortunate one. I'm trying to think how to say this without being crude. It was a friend of mine who loads of tattoos travel around.
Yeah.
They travel around and tattoo where they can, and I'll just let them do what they want. And I'm running out of space, and it was this daft little frog, and it went on the inside of my thigh.
Yeah.
But we didn't. I laid down, trousers off, undies on. Didn't realise until I got out of the shower and stood up, and gravity took effect. It looks like it's peeking around from.
For your ball sack.
Yeah, we call him Herman the Dong Frog.
Get in.
Yeah.
Get in.
Yeah.
No, I think we need to see that picture now.
You can see it,
I'm kind of intrigued at this shit.
I think it's going to be an X-rated show. I think we're going to get pulled down.
Your ball sack. I'm like, yeah, I need to see that shit. Yeah. I definitely do. I'm intrigued. I know, yeah.
So, viewers, listeners, that isn't the reason why Rory is in the studio today. But
it's a whole other podcast, that.
Definitely, yes.
Are you got tattoos, Idrees?
I haven't, no. No. I was thinking of maybe getting some. You can get tattoo where you can get this little ball duck, can't you? But I've already got that.
No, you can get it. You can get hair tattooed on you now. You can get some follicles put in there, mate. All sorts.
I know, but I think once the ink sort of spreads a bit,
I'm this way up on the back of your head, something like that.
I think I've gone past that stage because when I think I was in my late 20s when I started losing hair, and I went through that phase of wearing the cap and trying to brush it forward and all that, and then I think maybe about 3 years later in my sort of early 30s I just sort of embraced it and then start shaving it.
That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
so I've done that for 20 years now, so it doesn't bother me anymore, and I can understand people going through all that when you're initially losing it.
Was it your old man? Was your old man? What's his hair quite young as well?
I think he had more hair than me than when he was 60s. I think it was just me, too much Brill cream and all that sort of crap.
I started losing my hair with a bit of stress, and I decided to shave it all, but I just look like a convict. Yeah. I've got no other choice. Like I'm happier and nicer than that. It was just gave the wrong impression.
Other convict looks are available. Yeah. As well.
Yeah. Let's not stereotype.
I know. Yeah. Do you feel like always feel like you could probably do some good facial hair, like a nice beard?
I don't know. I've never really because I can't really grow like a proper Rory beard because I've got like patches in there, and it doesn't. I don't suit it.
That's like a convict who spent too much time in isolation. Then really, that's kind of like we're scratching away. I want to see that now. Like do like a Movember thing where we get it.
Yeah, definitely.
I grew it because when I used to wear a suit for work and like wear a waistcoat or whatever, when I didn't have a beard, I had two looks: magician or snooker player. That's all I could look like. So I thought I'd toughen it up with a beard, but everyone knows what I'm like.
Yeah.
Is there a rabbit peeking out?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not just a frog anymore. That's it. Oh, that's a good one.
So the reason Rory is here today because he has been on a challenge, I believe.
Yeah. Well, basically, it's sort of there's I think it's probably fair to introduce a bit more about where you're coming from, Rory, as well, because I think you've how did we met through your Find the Light group? I think it was effectively.
I think so. Yeah.
I think we heard about that. Mm-hmm. Got in touch with you, and you told us. I tell you what it was. I saw an article on you in the Gazette, and I think I saw you on ITV News, where you did an interview, and you were talking about your experiences with mental health. And what is your experience with mental health, just for the audience? And
it's a long-winded one. I think in some way, looking back now as an adult, I think in some way, shape or form, I've always suffered with my mental health.
Right.
Home life was quite tumultuous when I was younger. I was bullied a little bit. It was quite volatile.
You're very positive about things, though. I have to say. Yeah, no, you are.
I try. And when I was 19, I had quite a breakdown. It was one of those things that build up over Christmas, and then when after Christmas Day presents, there's that little bit of an anticlimax. But when that distraction was removed from stopping looking forward to it, I crashed like I've never felt anything before. And before the new year, I'd made an attempt on myself. Luckily, it didn't happen. I still wear the scars of it with pride. Like, I'm never going to get rid of them. Not because I'm proud that I did it, but proud to show people it doesn't define who you are.
Absolutely.
And I was scared. I didn't know why I was feeling that way, but I think looking back, I'd always felt something wasn't necessarily right.
What do you pin it down? Is it like anxiety, depression? Like a lot of people jump on those.
Big anxiety. I'm a chronic overthinker.
Yeah.
And my thoughts won't turn off.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
It's real dangerous.
Yeah. Why is it dangerous?
Because if something gets in there, it's like Inception, the film Inception. If it takes hold, it can ruin everything.
Obsessive, like
absolutely. If you get in your head that somebody maybe doesn't like you, or they're out for you, or maybe this relationship isn't right, or whatever it is, this job isn't right, you can convince yourself of things that aren't necessarily true.
Yeah. And you're quite a creative guy. I know that like you work in like programming, or kind of like you create spreadsheets and you work with various like in IT where
I'm
you're
a tech
working
consultant,
with.
So
and mathematics is absolutely is absolutely your thing as well. Isn't
I did an applied maths degree. I haven't used it once, basically. But I about 19. That's when that happened.
Yes.
I moved to uni when I was 21. And again, there was a lot of solitude. I did an internship with IBM during my degree. Got invited back to IBM. Lived down south in a little bedsit. And being away from your family and being on your own for months at a time, isolation does really funny things to you. I had a breakdown. I had a bad breakup just as I was moving to uni, really bad, and I was single for 10 years. Couldn't even think about it. I was celibate for 9. It screwed me up to such an extent. The thought of getting close to someone and letting somebody in was just, I couldn't handle it. And I didn't want to damage anybody else in the process. Like,
I just met a guy this week who's had a bad breakup with his wife. And exactly the same. He's had a couple of relationships since, and actually the second one, he said he had to end it just because his head was getting in the way of it, like his trust and everything. It's like he's just not ready. Yeah, he doubted whether or not he ever would be, and obviously a bit conversation. I think he felt reassured that he would be eventually.
Yeah, and
it's a tough thing.
That's the thing. My relationship now, it has its rocky moments.
Yeah,
some worse than others.
Who just doesn't?
Yeah,
fucking at least, and it's just the shit that most people aren't honest about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and the only way I've ever known how to do it is to jump all in, to go all in. If I ever try and pick a right moment to do it, it'll never occur.
Right.
So I just went all in. Yeah. Trust issues are huge for me.
That's interesting. You try and like risk manage the shit out of every situation to the point where you feel it's safe enough to in the right time to do it.
But I've just got to do it.
Yeah,
and risk it. Like I might get fucked over. She might get fucked over.
That's life, right?
Of course. Yeah. That's it. And I've only ever known how to learn by doing. I can't think my way into being okay in a relationship. You've got to be in a relationship.
If you had to slap like a mental health label on you, it sounds like the one you'd hold up would be like anxiety, basically.
I think so
as well. So like we've talked before, like we were chatting in the last podcast a bit about mindfulness and how like we're going to cover it in a lot more detail, like with John in the future as well. But right, being mindful. So anxiety is something like is something I've been diagnosed with like moderate depression as well at times, right? And it's various life events. So when it comes to the anxious mind, I can look back through my family. I can see my mum's behaviour, and I can see other like members of my family. I can see where it comes from. So I understand it, and over time, it's like I've had different counselling, and I've started to understand what works for me, what doesn't. So for like mindfulness, it can be anything from like having a swim in the pool, like to like help clear my mind and settle my mind, to like going out for a walk, going out for a run, doing my triathlon. It can be like gaming, it can be watching a film, reading a book. I do use mindfulness like meditation as well. And particularly, it sounds like the thing we're about to talk about in a second is actually something which is quite obviously a first experience for you. So before we actually get onto that, do you tend to have you tried different things to help you manage anxiety and the thought, the thinking?
Yeah, lots of trial and error.
Okay.
Of course, my first protocol is always the doctor.
Yeah.
But I think there always tends to be two camps. There's those people that rely solely on medication and medical intervention.
Right.
There's those that are like, I don't need it, I can handle myself.
Yeah.
But I think it has to fall somewhere in between.
Yeah.
I think you have to, if you need medical attention, you have to get medical attention.
Yeah.
But you also have to really work on it yourself.
Right.
I
couldn't agree more, actually.
Yeah.
I think, like, the idea that any of these things work in isolation by themselves, Idrees, you know, like, all my problems were solved through antidepressants, or all my problems were solved through, like, running twice a day, or whatever it could be. It's like, it's always a combination of a whole lot of, but most of it falls under you, even taking your medication properly, not stopping it and you start to feel better. It's all personal responsibility.
Yeah, my dad's the worst. He takes, I think, looking back, like I said, looking back when you're an adult, a lot of things seem to make sense. I think my dad suffered a lot with his mental health growing up, and I think I just took on a lot of that. And he just, oh yeah, I'm back on my medication. Why did you stop? Oh, I just didn't. It's like he's really inconsistent with it.
Right. Okay.
I totally forgot what I was even saying.
So it's how you tend to, like, use mindful anything, really.
It's having a healthy way to escape reality.
Yeah.
And a lot of people turn to drugs, violence, sex, whatever it is, and really go into it.
What about embracing reality? You say to escape reality. Can it not be to embrace reality as it is, as it happens?
Yeah, I think so. I think it has to be both. I think you have to, only you know when it's right to do that.
Right, that's it.
And there's times when it gets full on, and if I try and embrace reality at that point, I'll just keel over.
Yeah.
So I'll either put my headphones on and play some computer games, I'll go to the gym.
Yeah.
I've started doing jiu-jitsu, kickboxing.
Oh, shit.
And walking in nature, like that's something we've connected on. Like,
well, you've done a lot of
going hiking.
You've been mountain walking and stuff like this. It's been a whole thing for you.
It's the best. It really makes you feel awesome.
I think you're going to probably get the Wainwrights done before I do now, which is,
I'm going to try.
Yeah, slightly narky, because I've definitely got it set up as a thing I want to do. So, so your partner, Find a Light. So you've got Find a Light, which is an online Facebook group where people can chat, and it's like an advocate. I always tell people it's like I think it's like an advocacy group for mental health. That's what it appears to be for me.
It's primarily, So we have done things in the past. It started as an in-person thing. We would rent a space out, Craig's in Newmask, and go down there, and I would just talk about my mental illness to try and get people to know it's okay. Definitely. Not with any expectation that they should talk, but just to let them know it's fine too.
Absolutely.
And then COVID hit pretty much straight away. We had our first one in November, and then one in February, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
So it was forced to go behind the scenes.
Yes.
And it's primarily an advocacy group first. Not everyone has mental illness, but everybody has mental health.
Yes.
Every single person.
Right.
And if you don't look after your mental health, it will become mental illness.
Yeah.
And everyone gets it. We all know the statistics around men, and there's a reason for that. Men don't want to talk to each other, but you have to.
Well, and when it's and we've covered it before, and we'll keep saying it, is when it's done in the right way, men will talk. And it doesn't have to be like, the language of mental health. It can just be like, I'm struggling. It can be like, felt a bit down. It's like, shit's on top of me. Whatever suits people. And that's, I think the language is like probably one of the biggest barriers, to be honest. Like,
I agree. One of my proudest moments of all of this was the first Find a Light group we did. There were people, I'm not going to name any names, obviously. There were people there, and then I found out from a friend of a friend that someone was there in the pub the next time he saw them, opened up and told him.
Brilliant.
I couldn't be happy about that.
That's fantastic.
That's exactly what it's for. But I'm 6'2", I'm 290 pounds. I've got box.
Are you still 290?
Yeah. Solid muscle.
You were saying, that's right. Yeah. The body shape has changed.
Composition.
I think these last 2 years within the COVID period and then lockdown, and that hasn't really helped. And I was going to say, in terms of approaches you had through the Facebook group, what sort of issues are people bringing forward?
A lot of it is. It's a really mixed bag. We don't discriminate. There's a few really good, not discriminate, but we don't tailor anything. There's lots of really good groups around us for men only. Walk and Talk in Red Cars is a tremendous one. Gareth, we just let anybody do it, and I try to remain active and get people to open up. It's a largely quiet group for the most part. A lot of it is just a sounding board. It's just a sounding board for people to open up and talk about what they want to. If it goes months without anyone talking, great. But it's always there if people need
like
to.
A WhatsApp group, isn't it?
Yeah. Actually, it's funny you say that. There's a truth to that.
Yeah.
We support each other through some difficult times, haven't we, as well? And we've taken the piss out of each other to probably two.
The two aren't mutually exclusive. Yeah, you have to.
That's it. You got to. Yeah. It's got to be there, hasn't it? There's some people like who would have the shits about basically talking about such issues in an open, well, I think it is a closed Facebook group. People have to take responsibility for what they share, and I know there's a couple of rules that people accept before they go on. You have actually supported a couple of people through there who have been at crisis as well.
Yes, so there's been a few people who said, I can't go on, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And the best way to describe it is they were jumping and everyone reached out to catch them before they hit the floor. It was a beautiful thing. It's happened 2 or 3 times, and every time everyone floods in. If you need me, PM me. No one ignores it.
Really?
And my mum's an admin on it. My mum's a mental health nurse. She struggled with her mental health for years, totally openly. I actually interviewed her a while back, and we both discussed the impact that our mental health had on one another. It was a really beautiful discussion whereby I was able to tell her how she impacted my mental health and vice versa.
Okay.
I think being open is the only way to do it.
Absolutely.
You've got to drop your ego, and there's a real trust associated with that. If we had a discussion or a disagreement, and I could trust you to not overreact, I could trust you to be level-headed, I'd bring anything to the table. It wouldn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
But it's the distrust comes in when you think someone might just hit the roof, and you have to drop your ego.
Yeah, well, I think that judgmental sort of thing. You're definitely in the camp of, like, you know, one of the few people I've met who are genuinely non-judgmental. I think kind of, you know, you're open to all opinions, and kind of whether or not we always share the same is irrelevant. It's like you're open to it and open to listening to what people have got to say about how they arrived at that as well. And I think that a big part of that is playing out in society today right now, in terms of, like, the differences. And I always feel like there's those that have the motivations to try and divide us, and those that kind of work hard to try and unite us as well. And I think for men's health, men's mental health, this is an area where we can definitely unite quite easily.
I totally agree, and I think I'm really happy to say there's a big revolution at the minute with it going on. It's really big. I really hope it's not just the cause celebrate at the minute. I hope it's not just the hot potato at the minute, and that it's going to stick.
Part of it, I mean, you mentioned about being open there, and obviously it's about trying out new things, isn't it? To go with it. Now, your partner, what's your partner?
Sarah.
So Sarah got you a voucher.
Yes.
Did she not?
Yes, she did.
And I think to start to introduce exactly what it is that's going on, what this voucher was for. Why do you think she got you this thing? Before we mention what it is, why do you think she picked that then?
I think we're both fans of the Joe Rogan podcast.
Okay.
Like everyone else who wants to try and better themselves, it's a very particular type of people. It's fine to make fun of.
Yeah.
And I've been a big fan of it, and for years I've always tried to, like, dig a little bit deeper in myself.
Yes.
And I think the only way you learn about yourself truly is to put yourself in uncomfortable positions.
Yes.
Push yourself as far as you
Definitely,
can.
100%.
Whether that's racing, whatever your discipline, pain, anger, whatever it is, to push yourself to that extent, that's where you learn about yourself.
And I think also, like, being open to criticism about your own yourself as well, like
100%,
being your worst critic, your own personal worst critic.
Yeah, I'll come back to the voucher in a second, but my relationship's the best in the world. It's got its ups and downs, of course.
Yeah.
You know, but if Sarah says you did this, it really upset me.
Yeah.
I won't be like, well, you said this. I'm like, I'm sorry. It came from this place, and she's exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's totally open.
Yeah.
If for what, like, she never ever would, but if for whatever reason she met someone else and kissed them, let's just say she never ever would, I would say, where did it come from?
Yeah.
Talk to me about it. Like,
yeah, that's right.
I do have anger in me, of course I do. Everyone does. But it doesn't benefit those situations, and human nature is human nature.
Yeah,
we celebrate people that fuck up and come back.
Yeah, no, that is really important, isn't it? As well. I mean, bottom line is, if you've got the right relationship, you should have that conversation well in advance of that, shouldn't you? So you know, actually, it's always a reflection that something's not right anyway, isn't it? And how many times does it fall down to, like, not good communication? Yeah. Sometimes it's about raising the things that are actually really uncomfortable for you to say. Yeah, because it's about the other person. Or it might even be about yourself. Yeah, that's the hardest thing, is when you go, look, you know what, I fucked up. I said something there I shouldn't have. And actually, if more of us do that, like, we could. Well, I always find other people are much more willing to give up their kind of mistakes, their kind of things that have foiled them a little bit, and be more honest, and that just promotes a much better relationship.
I think so. And realistically, I've got to be totally honest about it. When I was at school, I was a bit of a bully. I really was. I was very insecure. I was very big. I was much bigger than everyone else. Right. I was much louder than everyone else. I was a bully by any other word. I can't hide from that. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until I saw the effects that had that I learned this is horrible. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So now I've got to live with the fact that I might have caused someone lifelong mental health problems. Mm-hmm. If not, they might have hurt themselves. So if anything bad happens now, I've just got to say, look, I'm sorry, it came from this place. Mm-hmm. Acknowledge that it happened, and change the opinion.
Absolutely.
If Mother Teresa like behaviour is a straight line, everyone zigzags across it. No one walks the line perfectly.
Yeah, that's right.
The only way to get better is admission and change.
Yeah.
And life's hard, man. You get angry, you lash out at people, you take it out on people,
Yes.
you discriminate against people. If you're willing to learn, anything is okay to come back from for the most part.
How many people don't ever have the balls to admit, yeah, no, I was insecure and that was driving my behaviour, and this is, this is what had been normal. This is what had been made normal to me, and then actually do something about it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like that's where courage comes from. I think that's absolutely tremendous to hear. To be honest,
It's sort of identifying that and then addressing it, and I think it's good that if you can do that.
100%.
Yeah, and it's a weird one, like a lot of people say that about me, I think it's true, not from an arrogant standpoint, but because I don't see it being a totally prevalent thing, not because I'm better, just because I've arrived at this certain point.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to cultivate that culture in other people, other than to show them it's okay, and that's what Find the Light's about. It's okay to fuck up. It's okay to not feel okay.
It's essential.
100%. Like, you don't learn until you've done something wrong.
Absolutely.
Like, you could tell me, when I was a kid, you could tell me that fire's hot. I'm like, nah, man.
No, that's right. I put my hand on a hot stove top before, the ones that don't look hot. I was like, bullshit. You bastard. I know, yeah. That was me. That was me. Always push the button that says do not push.
Yeah.
There's something about it.
Jumped in a hot bath. There's no cold in there, Rory. Oh my
Was
God,
Princess Anne in that
splash.
bath?
You are?
Princess Anne in that
Yeah, that one, yeah.
She did.
But yeah, this voucher, right,
Just a quick break from the pod to tell you about the campaign. BoroManCan is a men's health initiative that aims to increase male access to health services through the use of role models and inspirational stories. Visit www.boromancan.co.uk to find out more. Thanks for listening. Let's get back to the pod.
Yeah, talk about hot baths. But anyway, go on. That's all right.
I've always liked the thought of doing things to better myself, trying to understand myself more.
Yeah.
It's not crystals and bell chimes and all that kind of shit and horoscopes.
We're coming to that later on another podcast, actually.
Of course, yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
Hawkham. But just trying to do things to change my perspective and change the way I think about things. Mm-hmm. I'd love to get into psychedelics. I can't get into psychedelics. Like,
why not? Just that you've said it. I'm just going to ask why.
Yeah, A, work. It's not something they would promote. And B, I don't think my head would take it.
There's some really. I was delivering mental health first aid this week, and I mean, in my life, I've visited places like Amsterdam and so on. It'd be bullshit to say I hadn't been into cafes and tried a joint and tried psychedelics, and I've never had. Some people have different experience with them. Some people, it would send them down a path of developing mental health problems. So these things have to all be recognised. But for some others, it can be very mind expanding and a positive experience. And the research that they're doing on them,
absolutely,
is really like supporting people with PTSD. Mm-hmm. I mean, these aren't conversations that are popular to have, but that's going on, and people are having results from it. It's something we have to acknowledge in micro doses.
Absolutely. Remember, I don't know if either of you two have seen it. There's a show called Tribe on BBC years ago with a guy called Bruce Parry.
Absolutely.
He was like a Bear Grylls type explorer, and he was just going to live with indigenous people and change his perspective. And he had ayahuasca, and on camera, he's like, "I've got to go home." It changed his life. He's like, "I've wronged so many people. I've got to go." He cut the show short.
That deep sense of connection that you suddenly feel to the world.
It was so powerful. He left the Amazon. He just fucked off. Now I've got to go.
Yeah.
Just walk home.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've always wanted to try and change my perspective on things. Purge my ego.
Yeah.
Access bits of my brain that aren't there.
Yeah.
Whatever. I do. I walk alone. Go to the gym alone. Music. It's really meditative. Allows you time to think. I do Wim Hof breathing every morning.
Yeah.
It's really good.
The two of us. I'm trying to get Idrees and Matt to try it. Haven't got it yet. So.
Yeah, get down to the skivvies, go and there's some cold water.
Oh, it's amazing.
But yeah, she got me I've always wanted to go, and she got me a voucher to go to a sensory deprivation tank.
A sensory deprivation tank.
Yeah.
Sensory deprivation tank.
Yeah.
So this is not a military tank.
No.
So the visual, the hearing.
Essentially, it's a giant pod filled with water. It's about this deep of water.
How far is that? About a foot?
Yeah, about 1.5 foot, something like that. Okay. 18 inches.
All change.
Yeah. The tank is about, let's say, 8 foot wide and about 10 foot long.
Oh, it's big.
It's sizable,
it's a lot bigger than I thought.
It's cool, yeah. And the water's full of salt.
Yes.
And the reason it's full of salt is so you're buoyant. You don't sink through the water as easily. And the water is heated to your body temperature. It's 37.5 degrees. So they shut the door. There's no sound, no noise, and no feeling. you're all in your head. There is feeling, of course, because you're still a body in motion.
Yeah.
But the point is to try and shut off as many of your external senses as possible.
Okay.
And I've heard things where people say it's quite psychedelic, they have a bit of a trip.
Yeah.
I had a tiny little introduction to that, a tiny little bit of it.
Okay.
It was wonderful.
Okay.
It was so much.
Let's come to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Get the detail of it going on.
I think you did a pre-recording of
little
that.
video.
Shall we have a listen to that and watch it first and see what?
So this is a video we asked Rory to do before he did it, about his sort of expectations leading up to it. Go for it.
My name's Rory Logan. I'm doing a little piece for BoroManCan. Yes, so I have, for the past however long, been really looking into things that can benefit me, that I can do myself and that I can take under my own power, exploring things that might be seen quite unconventional, but really are proven to help quite a lot of people. Meditation is one of them, deep breathing is one of them, cold therapy is one of them, and today I'm going to go and do my first session in a sensory deprivation tank, a floatation tank. I've got no idea what to expect at all. I don't know if I'll be clothed. I don't know. I'm obviously going to take my trunks, my shorts. I've got no idea what to expect in terms of that. I have been thinking quite a lot about how I'm going to be in there. I'm quite claustrophobic, and I struggle to let go quite a lot and just ease into the moment. So that might be quite a hurdle. I don't know what to expect from the first session. It might be quite unsuccessful, but I'm going to keep going and see how it does. Yeah, I don't think it's a cure-all at all, but I'm hoping that taking away, as the name suggests, all of the other kind of sensory input will allow me to get deeper into things. I suffer quite a lot with intrusive thoughts, so I'm not just going to go in there blank. I've chosen to, as a test for now, meditate while I'm in there, and I don't mean meditate as in close my eyes and try and go to sleep and achieve enlightenment. I mean specifically meditate on a subject. So I did jiu-jitsu last night. I'm going to go in there and try and breathe and let go and mentally, psychologically work my way through some of the positions I did yesterday, see if I can commit them to memory, and just use this as an experiment going forward if it's successful. I don't know what I can use it for. Potentially purging myself of some trauma, getting deep into some things. I don't know. I really don't know. But this is the first one. This is the before video. I'll record an after video and sum up how it went. Yeah, like I said, I've really got no preconceived notions of how it's going to be. I'm a very big guy, so maybe I'll touch the sides. I don't know, but I'm really going to try and deliberately forego a lot of my neuroses. I'm a chronic overthinker. I don't know if I'm autistic or what have you, or but we call it my autistic side. I'm a chronic overthinker. I overthink about overthinking about overthinking. So I'm going to really deliberately try and focus on jiu-jitsu to try and expedite some of that. And if my mind wanders and I get into other things, so be it. But that's it for now. I'll report back afterwards. Hopefully some people will get something out of this. Oh, it's worth noting, it's in Stockton. The place is called Soak Flotation in Stockton. So it's not a mammoth drive, it's not a trek. I live in Newmask, so if anyone else is around, check back, and when I give my impressions about how it went, maybe you can go down and do the same thing. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.
So,
that was an unfortunate camera angle, that, like, all nostril. All nostril.
It could have been worse. He could have had a little frog peeping around.
Yeah, no, what's that?
Yeah, no.
I think there was a quote from my alter ego in there. I'm a big lad. I think I might touch the sides.
Oh, Idrees.
It wasn't a tank. It wasn't a sensory deprivation tank he was going in. He had something else on the mind.
I don't suffer from that.
We'll have to get Sarah on the podcast and find out exactly how that goes.
I'll just show you the frog. You'll be able to gauge by relative size.
What did he say? 8 foot wide. Dear God.
But yeah, I didn't record a follow-up video. didn't get the time to.
You can share it now. You can share your experience now.
Yeah.
So this is in Stockton.
Yeah.
What was it called? Soak
Floatation.
And is
Yeah.
it, what is it, Stockton, Thornaby, whereabouts is it?
Stockton. So I was really skeptical when I pulled up.
Yeah.
I had no preconceived notion, but when I pulled up, it was in one of the renovated units of the Spitfire pub.
Yeah, over in Thornaby, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
It's under there. So
Right.
the signage is still there. Spitfire. I thought, oh, it's in a pub.
Really?
It's some guy's bath in it. But no, it was. I can't speak highly enough about how good this was.
Okay.
Not even the session, the
Yeah.
venue. So
Yeah.
I
Have they offer you a voucher or anything like that if you do speak well of them? I'm only kidding.
I'll be honest. I got the guy's name afterwards, but I've totally forgot it. If you're watching, I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
But I went in, really nice and warm in there.
Okay.
There was a little Frenchie running around, felt at ease. It was nice.
Oh, yeah.
He told me, go to the loo if you need
The
to.
Frenchie did.
Yeah, the Frenchie.
That's incredible.
I was tripping balls.
Yeah, I was going to say. Take some out of Men in Black now, but anyway, yeah.
So I went in. He said, if you need the loo, go to the loo.
Yeah.
Wash your hands, blah, blah, blah. Let me through the room. The room was about the size of this studio. My private room. Mm-hmm. It was great.
Okay.
In that corner, let's say, there was a walk-in shower. It was done out like a wet room.
Okay.
Walk-in shower. There was a lock on the door. The isolation pod was just, it was where you are. It occupied most of the room.
Yeah.
And he taught me through it. He put me at ease. He said, there's a computer program. You'll go in the pod. You'll close the door. This is how you do it. I got control over whether the door opened or closed. It wasn't shut and I had to bang or anything.
Like a handle you can grab, pull down.
Yeah, a little kind of an electronic button, like a car window, and then you pulled it down for the last little bit.
No way.
Really good. He said, there's a computer program I'll initiate from outside. Go in the shower, get washed off, get in. I'll start the program. There's some nice lights in there, and a bit of music. He said, it'll fade away after 5 minutes. Just get in there, get used to lying down, and it'll fade away after 5 minutes. So everything was eased in. It wasn't just like, get in, slam, light off.
Yeah.
It was really relaxing.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
So just skip back. So once you're in the ring, the guy, how does he know when you're ready to get started? Has he got?
I think you can tell that the door's closed. I think there must be some sensors on it.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah. No cameras, nothing like that. He's like nice tattoo, by the way.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
Yeah, nice frog.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was really calming. He was really friendly, really professional. Knew his stuff. He went out. He said, "Just lock the door. Take your time." The whole session was an hour. I got about 40 minutes out of it, but the whole session was an hour.
So it's an hour, about 40 minutes inside the tank.
Well, that's what I got. That's what I managed to do. But I could have had the whole hour essentially.
An hour. That's incredible.
Yeah. But
would have been
I found it to be quite impressive. But anyway, I got really. It was so relaxing. The whole vibe of the place was lovely. There was a big UV heater in the roof.
Okay. So what? So at this point you're in your swim shorts, or
No. I said, might be a daft question.
Yeah.
Do I go naked or in trunks? It's not a daft question. Do what you want, what feels comfortable.
Really?
So to try and get everything off.
release the frog.
Yeah, release the frog. That's going to become a thing now. I know it is.
I'm not going to let it go.
Yeah,
It's tremendous.
fine.
That's great.
So I got in the shower, just washed off. Didn't need to dry off because it was a wet room. Just got in, closed the door. I got a little float for the back of my head. I've got a massive head, so that was sinking. So I've got a little float for the back of my head.
Do you think Rory's got a massive head? I wouldn't say it's like...
It's 2 foot.
Massive head, touching the sides. I don't know where this pod's going.
Is that
2 foot in circumference, 24 inches around.
Have you measured your head, Richie? Really?
all the time. Frankly.
Yeah.
That's good.
Got in there, and I just chilled. I didn't know... There's a light in there as well, if you want to. It's like, those kind of pneumatic squidgy push button things.
Yes.
It was one of those, so you can put it on if you want to.
Did you start off with that on then, just to...
No, I left that off for now. Like, there was still some colourful lights in the bottom with the computer program. 5 minutes went, it all ebbed away.
Wow.
That's perfectly still. And I thought, right, I want to check where the light is just so it's there, but I didn't. I just laid back and closed my eyes. And the first thing I was struck with was how fucking quiet it was.
Yeah.
It was, couldn't hear anything, couldn't hear a damn thing, couldn't see anything, not even the seam around the door. It was pitch black.
You couldn't hear anything.
Nothing at all.
So is this...
I think I've had that experience. You know when you fill a bath up and, and you put your head inside it, and but once you got your head in the bath, and you can hear your heartbeat within the water.
You can. You
get
can hear
some-
the tapping and stuff.
You get some earplugs. They're not the full ones that go in. They're like moldable waxy plastic, and they mold around your ear, so it's a total seal.
No idea. Yeah. Like the ones they use in power stations and stuff like that for the workmen.
So,
yeah.
Get in. Your head submerges a bit. Your ears are under. So all you can hear is you. All you can hear is your bodily functions,
Your breathing.
your pulse, your breathing. And that was one of the first things that struck me, was when like the tiniest movement of your pinky feels like an enormous great wave.
Oh my god!
It feels like you're being
Just really amplifies every little moment, doesn't it?
Feels like you're being sloshed around, and all you hear, anyone at home, if you put your hands over your ears, and it sounds like waves. It felt like I was in the sea being sloshed around the waves, even though I was perfectly still.
That's interesting.
It felt like I was being sloshed around. That was really relaxing.
That might be
I
like
loved that.
that might be different for different people, because some people get like motion sickness, and you know, they sit in the car, they have to.
I said that to friends, and they said they might have felt a bit queasy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you had a sense of movement, even though you weren't moving. You were perfectly still.
Yeah, I think it was a little tiny bit of movement, because if you submerge your hand,
Yeah.
even a small ripple is going to move you
Yeah.
over eventually.
Yes.
Even if it takes 5 minutes to move you over,
Yeah.
you're still moving a bit. It felt like waves. It felt like gentle.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Nice. And how much of it is, because obviously it's salt water, you're floating,
Yeah.
how much of it of your body we say is actually out of the water?
It's just half and half. If you
Is
drew a
it?
line like down the side, it's like
Maybe like
a
that.
bit above, bit below.
And did you feel a difference between that? Was like the water and the ambient air temperature?
Not
about-
exactly the same.
being-
You couldn't tell
Really?
where the surface of the water was. You couldn't tell where
Really?
you ended and the water began. It was great.
Okay.
And I got really relaxed by that. And like I said, I really struggled to let go. I always have done. But I managed to close my eyes, and I did little tests, closed, open, couldn't tell the
Yeah.
difference.
Why? Yeah. I was gonna ask
Exactly,
that,
that's the thing. And it got to the point, you know, when you stare into a pitch black space, you think shapes start to appear.
Yes.
Like if you watch Paranormal Activity, for example, the
Yeah.
film,
Yeah.
it's just pixels, but you think you can see shapes in the pixels
Yeah,
that aren't
you're
there.
anticipating it.
Your mind starts creating things,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't really powerful ping, zap, wow,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
light show, but I saw like purple shapes emerging, coming in and out. That might be the function of my eyes. That might be what the inside of my eye looks like. I've got no idea.
Yeah.
It felt, the weirdest thing was, it felt like I was in my own head,
Yeah.
because it felt like I was in my psyche, my body. That was the weird thing. I did trip a little bit
Okay.
in that.
Well, psychologically, you mean, or cognitively, sort of.
Yeah, like how one would with psychedelics, I guess. It's a
Right.
tiny little bit. Like I don't want to overstate it.
No,
It
it's
wasn't
okay.
like a fireworks show. It was a tiny little bit, and it might not be a trip, but I'd never experienced that before.
Okay.
And I remember vividly.
Were you at this point? Had the anxiety? Had you felt any anxiety from the start about it, or was there any? Had the anticipation built up? I know it
little
sounds
bit.
like it started off in quite a relaxed and very graduated way. So
Yeah.
the way you're introduced to it is quite good, and you're quite quickly into it by the sound. Once it's gone dark and you start to realise all your senses are being deprived, so then you realise you're in your own head. And you're not thinking, I don't like this. Did you like it? Did you not like it at this point? Or was it like...
I liked the motion of being thrashed around, or what I felt of being like splashed around a bit. I loved that. It was really relaxing. If I could just be in like a 100-foot by 100-foot pool doing that for a day,
Yeah.
most the relaxing thing I've ever had. But I had quite a...
Why did you tap the sides at some point?
Yeah.
Did you?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
And that takes you out of it a little bit.
Okay.
And you've got to like, when you start to move back a bit, that's putting more motion in the water. So you've got to like, I could just about touch both sides-ish. I've got like
Right.
6.5 foot arm span, so just about touch both sides. And like just about touch the bottom, I put my foot on the bottom and then
Yeah.
slowly release it and stabilise yourself.
Yeah.
But more to my point, when I said I was going to try and meditate, I couldn't. I
Right.
couldn't think of anything. I couldn't think. I tried to pinpoint specific thoughts.
Yeah.
It was so overwhelming. The lack of anything was so overwhelming. I couldn't think. It was great. So
That's great.
I was just emotion and all instinct. And it felt there was a point where, it might only make a minute and a half, where I started tripping. It felt like I was in my own head.
Yeah.
And I was sorting things. You know those recessed shelves you get?
Yeah.
It's like a wall, but it's got a hole cut in it, and you can put things on it. It felt like I was sorting things onto them. It felt real. It felt like I was sorting things onto this shelf.
Okay.
And I had a bit of a realization that all of my positive emotions, there's no happiness. It's all accomplishment. It's all based upon things I've achieved, but they're very, very short-lived. I haven't felt contentment for 20 years.
Wow.
I haven't felt true, proper happiness for a long time. And I think that might be normal for people. I don't know, but it's very. I realised that all of my positive emotions come from events, accomplishment, pride, and then it goes away really quickly.
Right.
It's not prolonged. I've got to be constantly looking for that next thing and next
Okay.
thing and next thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I found that after about 40 minutes, it got really oppressive, and I just started thinking about how much longer I had. I wasn't going to get any more out of it then, so I just put the lights on and chilled
Okay.
in there for a couple of minutes, and then
Yeah.
got out and showered off, and
Yeah.
but I think it was very useful. It was
So-
really useful.
Were you even conscious at the time how long you'd been in there?
No, I
how-
had no idea.
No idea.
I had no idea. I had a rough thought, but all of your perceptions go to whack. I've realised as well, all of our perceptions are based upon how long a conversation takes, how long a TV show takes, how long a song is.
Yeah.
When you're in there and you've got nothing, you've got no idea.
So time was it practically abandoned, really?
Pretty much, yeah.
Just like this pod.
Yeah, we'll stick to half an hour.
We'll stick to half an
Okay,
hour.
no.
It's only 45 minutes.
That's spot on. Okay.
But it was, I don't know how quickly I'd go back. It was really oppressive.
Oppressive.
But that's because I couldn't escape my own head.
Okay.
You know, it felt really enclosed, and the darkness felt like it was overwhelming a bit. But that's just me. That's just how I am.
So it relaxed you to a point. It was a positive experience to a point.
Yes.
But at some point, you went, actually, I've had enough of this now.
Yeah.
And that was it. You clicked, and it just went, right, I need to get out now.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so was that again? You sort of, there was thoughts that clearly were coming to you, and you said like it was a bit trippy and so on. And actually, was that to do with like that sense of connection that people often report, or was it more to do with like a sense of clarity about thinking?
I think it was more connection.
Okay.
It wasn't. It all felt like a dream sequence.
Yeah.
And it all felt quite abstract.
Okay.
But yeah, I felt a connection to it. Yeah, like I said, it felt like I was in my own head.
It's almost like like almost euphoric at times.
To a degree, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And I came out, and everything, the real world felt strange.
Okay.
Reality felt a bit slippery.
Interesting. As it would, I think. You've gone quite deep there. Haven't you?
Yeah. But it was great. It was absolutely phenomenal. I can't say enough good things about the place, the venue.
Fantastic.
The guy, I'm sorry I forgot your name, but he really put me at ease. He really sorted the whole thing out. So, like I said, we all go through mental illness problems, and you live your life with depression or anxiety all day, every day, some people.
Yeah.
And I was in my head, I'd had an argument, or something was going wrong or whatever, and I was just in my head, and I thought, I'm going to be trapped in there with this thought.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided to go in and meditate on jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
But I couldn't, and it found its own way. It found its own way through.
Did any of that come to you? Did you start to get any visualizations of kind of like the moves you've been taught and the movement? And
I tried.
Okay.
I really, really tried to focus on it. I remember them now. I can tell you what they are now. But at the time, I couldn't picture them in my head at all.
Did it unravel any particular thoughts that you'd been struggling with at all? Anything like that?
I don't know. I don't think I went in there with anything that needed unraveling.
Yeah,
but
okay.
I did have a realization, like I said, that all of my positive emotions,
Yes.
there's no happiness. It isn't happiness.
Okay.
And that might be weird for some people to hear. But I don't think anyone, if they sit here, can know, yes, I'm happy. It's a big question.
Yeah.
You know?
But who truly is anyway, basically, in terms of that as well? I mean, it's like it probably would make sense to understand at different points in people's lives what makes them happy.
Yeah.
I mean, not how many people really truly know themselves. It's like, but that's probably, it sounds like, I don't know if I can be so bold really, but it sounds like it's been a step forward in some respects in terms of knowing yourself. Yeah, do you feel good about that or bad about that then?
I feel good. I mean, it's upsetting. Of course it's upsetting. But in and of, the only reason it is because I think a lot of people don't like the thought that they're not happy. Do you know what I'm saying? It's, but that doesn't mean I don't have fulfillment.
No, you're positive about that.
Yeah.
But happiness is quite subjective, isn't it? And it's also relative as well, because you're comparing it from one situation to
Very
another.
relative, isn't it?
Did either of you ever go to the Body Worlds exhibit?
Yeah, I did. I've
Yeah,
been to
in
it,
Amsterdam.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they took it to London and stuff, and there was an exhibition there on happiness, the science of happiness, and it's a relative thing. If you achieve a point and then stop, you'll get depressed, you'll get unhappy. It's about progression. Like steady state, people aren't happy with at all.
That's right. Well, I mean, you push it. What was it? Ant Middleton said when I saw him a week or so ago, and it was like you push the pause button. The minute you stop pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, you push the pause button. You've got to keep. If you want to keep moving forward, you've got to do that. And he was talking a lot about being like honest with yourself about your own mistakes and everything. But that you've definitely got me thinking there about the idea of what you thought, where you were drawing a lot of your happiness from, was actually more event-like rather than probably the smaller subtleties in life as well. So has that made you think about how you can draw on other things as well then, as a result?
I think so, yeah, to a degree, yeah. It's hard to pinpoint. I don't know how I can work out of that, other than just keep doing things that I enjoy.
I always enjoy chatting to you, Rory. I think you've got a lot to share. I've got a lot about you. I think that open-mindedness probably carries a long way as well. And the fact that you're so open about kind of your own and so honest about your own kind of experiences as well is probably a good thing. So I'd reflect that back to you as well, because I think I think that's a skill and like something you've got, which maybe you might not always appreciate, is part of that as well. When you end this then, so you get out, you get showered, Yeah, I guess you get toweled off, get dry, get dressed, and out you go. And he's like, "Oh, did he say, oh, you weren't in there long, or did he say?" Oh,
I asked, because it's a computer program. He gets a thing of how he can see when I got out. I said, "How long was it?" And it was like 40 minutes.
If you had to guess, then would you have said 40 minutes, or would you have said longer? Or
I just couldn't. I really don't know. I've got no idea. And it could have been an hour. It could have been 20 minutes. I really couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
But he was shocked. And I was like, it just started getting a bit oppressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said some people go in for the hour, no problem.
Interesting.
Yeah, because the reason I didn't know how long it was going to be is it was a voucher. I didn't book it, so I went in and I thought it would just end when it ended. Yeah. I didn't know it would be a full hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hard.
I'm quite intrigued myself. I think I might give it a spin actually, because that feeling I was describing, where you're in a bath full of water, and and I think what you describe is that on a like 10x.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like I think if you had some music on and some nice lights, just doing that for an hour would be one of the most relaxing things you could do.
Yeah.
It would be beautiful.
Really that good.
Yeah.
So you came back out, you said the world felt a little bit weird afterwards.
Yeah.
Was it like a come down? Is it like a come down or something like?
Yeah.
Was it really?
A little bit, yeah. It was lights were really bright. Yeah. Lights were really, really bright. It took me a while to reach, even after an hour. It took a while. Like when I went to Prague a few years ago, my company's got an office in Prague, and we did this thing called the Invisible Exhibit, where in a museum they set up different environments: a house, a wood, a street, blah blah blah, and you're blind. You're blind during the exhibit. They turn every light source off, so you can't see anything. You've got to navigate your way around for a couple of hours around a wood, a street, a house, a bar, a restaurant. What? And when you come out, like the LED light on your phone was the brightest thing you'd ever seen. It doesn't take long for your eyes to adjust and no light whatsoever. So it all felt a little bit illusory coming back to the real world. Yeah.
Interesting, isn't it, as well? Did you? I can imagine. See, in my head, the way I'm imagining that is that you're suddenly more acutely aware of the visuals, the audio, things are like you know.
I was less aware.
Well, yeah, okay.
I think so. Yeah, I was just hazy. I was purely hazy.
Okay.
It was all so overwhelming. I couldn't pinpoint one individual.
So you tuned
thing.
out. You were still on a different frequency.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wants to be in reality when you're in traffic and Thornaby? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It was. You probably should be. It's probably unsafe not to be. But
did you sleep well that night?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. It was good.
And would you go back?
Yeah, I would. Yeah. Now I would. Yeah.
Planning on doing it?
I think so. At the time, I don't think I would. Sorry, at the time I didn't know when I would go back or if I would go back. But now that I've digested it, I think I would. Yeah.
It sounds like the guy's got his handle on doing it in a safe way, in a graduated way, and there's safety built into it. From anything, apart from anything else, you're in water, and obviously, there's obviously that element of safety has to be managed, isn't it? So it's nice to know that that's obviously the priority for the for the way they're organising it. And not having those expectations for someone who can overthink, and I'd be very similar. I'd be like wanting to know. I'd be asking probably a lot of questions before I went in and stuff like that as well, like making sure. Whereas some people might have a very relaxed attitude to it. All right, okay, I'll just get on with it and do it. Do you think you would do the same thing with intentions then, or do you think just go with it?
I think it would depend. I think you have to. I hear a lot of people who do psychedelics talk about what they want to get out of it.
Yeah, right. Okay.
If I was trying to figure something out, I would go in with no preconceived notions. But if I had something I wanted to try and work on, I would go in and try and think about that. Maybe it depends what I wanted to try and get out of it in that moment.
I wonder what type of. Did you speak to the guy about what type of clientele he gets?
No. I wanted to get out of there. I just didn't want to speak to anyone.
Really?
Speaking to people felt weird. It felt really strange.
So you like, thanks very much, bye.
I felt like I hadn't spoken to someone. Like, Tom Hanks in Castaway?
Yeah.
He comes back and he just can't speak properly.
Imagine that, you turn the light back on and there's a friggin' volleyball there. yeah, like, what the fuck? Have I ever been here?
Oscar!
You got a beard, longer beard, twice as long, yeah, Oscar.
When the lights come on, it's there in the tank with you. No.
Or just Idrees is there. What the fuck?
No, I think I'm definitely going to go and try it as well. Okay. We'll feed back and see how that goes.
Yeah, right. So who do you think, do you think anyone could benefit from doing this? And what do you think overall would be the average benefit for most people, do you think?
It's hard to say because you've got to be in touch with that side of yourself that wants to dig a little bit deeper, I think.
You think that's what it's about? So it is about for people that want to dig a little bit deeper, spend a bit of time, bit of inward work, basically.
Well, it's hard for me to tell because I wanted to get something out of it.
Yep.
I presume that people could go in there with no preconceived notions and just, by virtue of the fact there's no sensory input, get a bit of a revelation or something. That's possible.
Right.
I don't know. I really don't know. But
to be fair, it's only been But it has helped you.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah. I didn't have some massive, like, life-altering revelation where I've got to sell all my goods and move to Bali. But that'll be fun. But no, it did give me an insight that I hadn't thought about before. It changed. I had a thought I never had before. That's rare. Really.
So those people you hear about, I know, like Rogan did talk about it on his podcast, didn't he? And he does it quite regularly, I think.
He has one.
Yeah, yeah. He's actually got his own.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn it! I mean, that's like, yeah. Let's get one ordered. Let's get on.
Put it in the back of the studio.
Yeah, absolutely. Or modify your bath a little bit. yeah. Get another bath, put it on top, and just lift it up. But yeah, this sounds like really good. We'll have to get in touch and give it a try. And maybe
for sure, recommend it to anybody.
Myself, I think probably it sounds like the idea of the first one is probably just to go in there with like keep your expectations down, and just do it and go with it and see what happens. Really, I don't know if I'd be the type of person to fall asleep.
It was akin to really deep meditation. I don't know how frequently you meditate or if you do. But there's times where you get into that zone halfway between asleep and halfway between awake, and you connect with something. That's how it felt.
Brilliant.
It almost, like I said, it felt like a dream sequence for parts of it.
And so, I think my last question would be from a perspective of someone who is aware of the mental health, of the triggers, and I know you've talked a lot before about kind of your self-management. Basically, is this something that you think you would build in for that purpose to help with mental health? You think?
If I had the facilities to do it regularly, I absolutely would. Yeah,
okay,
for sure. I do Wim Hof breathing every morning.
Yeah.
I don't see the world unless I've listened to music for 15 minutes and breathe. These things are really important, I think.
Excellent.
But yeah, I would if I had to, for sure. If I had the facilities to, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get one.
Definitely.
It's been on my list for ages, so I was quite excited to find out there's one locally.
No.
Get down there. For
yeah,
sure.
100%.
No, appreciate you coming into the studio, Rory, and sharing your experience with us.
Yeah.
And I'm quite motivated to go in myself now and check it out. So
absolutely.
No feedback.
I might go like Mancini or something, some inappropriate.
Oh God.
I know, yeah.
Get on down.
I know. Thank you for sharing.
Unleash the frog.
Unleash the frog as well. Many other
Is that going to become a hashtag now?
I mean, I've been thinking about like what my next tattoo might be for some time now, but you know, I'm just I have to have a little think about that. Yeah, that little peeking round.
Confirming the dong frog. Have a think.
Absolutely. I think that should be like your like profile pic on Facebook now. You know, like we'll soon sort out. Find the light. Find the frog.
Yeah, find the frog.
Find
the frog. Listen, Richie, it's been nice having you in the studio, and you as well, Rory. Appreciate you coming in today, and thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and thank you for tuning in. We'll be back again with a maybe record that in on location.
We are on the Leaky Roof, which is a secret location in Middlesbrough with a private bar. It's quite something.
We'll watch out for the Leaky Roof edition very soon.
Fantastic.
That's all for now. Take care. Bye bye.
Cheers. Thanks, Rory.
Thank you.
See you later.